What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Pat Outdoors. Hope you're having a great week. Before we put the MX350 back together, we got to do something about the aesthetics. The plastics look really worn out. They've got a lot of stress marks on them. Everything's really dirty, and I'm trying to get rid of some things. So let's get started with cleaning things up. This is what I mean by stress marks. This happens with plastic whenever you bend it, and it just doesn't go back to its original form. It shows internal signs of weakness. So I got to do something about this. I really don't want to paint the fairing set because that's going to involve a lot of work on this bike. I also want to get rid of any leftover ripped up decals on these things. I also don't like the fairings on the MX350s. They point way too high. So I might just get rid of this completely. For the box, I actually just want to keep it clean, maybe take the decals off. I'm gonna completely get rid of these things though. Bar pad I'm replacing. I don't really need this. So any unnecessary weight or plastics, I'm gonna completely get rid of. I was recently visiting a collision repair shop for work, and I was watching one of the body technicians do something with a bumper, which I found very interesting. He was getting rid of some stress marks with a heat gun. So I actually want to try that out to see if it works. I thought that was super interesting. It didn't completely get rid of it, but it got rid of like 80% of the white marks in this area, just from a little bit of heat. If you're gonna try this, I would not recommend staying too close to the plastic because it's still plastic. It could completely deform if you overheat it. This is exactly why I just wanted to practice on a throwaway piece. All the plastic pieces are now clean. The seat was flawless, like there's not even a scratch on that thing. So I'm pretty happy with the overall condition of this bike. It just needed some cleaning really. So I'm gonna let these air dry for a couple hours. I gotta get to work and do some things, and then we'll come back later on and get all the stress marks out of the plastics. Really hope my fiance doesn't see this video, otherwise she's gonna start expecting me to do dishes more often. Fender is still far from perfect, but it is already significantly improved as far as how much white there is around these areas. I even got rid of some down here. I may polish the plastic, maybe do a wet sand just to make it more uniform and more polished looking. Get rid of some of these surface scratches, but I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out with just heat. The front fairings turned out really well. There's barely any sort of white left, so I don't really have to do too much to these. Now that we got all the plastic fairings looking pretty good and the seats all cleaned up, it's got me looking back at this bike, and I can't help but see some of the flaws that I can actually improve on. The frame and the fork are actually perfectly fine. They just need to be cleaned. But the wheels, I can't deal with the rust
after getting that looking pretty good. So now I'm gonna take off the wheels, front and rear. I'm gonna sand them down and paint them. I also noticed that the kickstand is pretty rusty, so I'm gonna take that off and refinish it as well. I let the wheels sit for 2 hours just to make sure they're fully dry. Then I'm gonna mask the axles, the valve stem. Then I'm gonna deflate the tires so I can mask those as well. Then we're gonna paint it with Krylon Fusion gloss black paint. This is the easiest way I've found to mask tires whenever painting wheels. You just deflate the tires and jam a bunch of index cards in between the tire and the rim edge, and then pull them back out whenever you're done. And while the wheels are drying, I'm gonna knock off any loose dirt from this frame and the fork, just so it's ready for us to put it back together later. I gotta say that I'm pretty happy with how the wheels turned out. The gloss finish on this, like look at the paint finish. It almost looks like it's wet. So I can't believe I got this good of a result from a spray can. All right guys, just got the last couple pieces for the bike delivered. First things first is the light switch, so we can finally wrap up the headlight wiring lube for the chain because it is super rusty and it looks like it's been sitting a while, just to play it safe. And a Pro Taper handlebar pad because why not? This is just a universal light switch for a 7/8 inch handlebar. I got a black and gray one instead of the typical red one like I used before because this one matches the bike much better. The Pro Taper pad that I use is 8.6 inch, not the 10 inch. This is the one that fits perfectly on these bikes. It's the same one I used last time, except this one's blue, so it matches the bike. If you are interested in checking these out, I will leave a link in the description for all the parts that I used for this project. The bar pad is definitely a snug fit. It's 8.6 inch. Wish it was like 8.2 or something. It would have been perfect, but it works just fine. It's a little squished on both sides. The light switch looks like it's factory, like it matches the Razor throttle perfectly. I know a few of you guys had a question regarding how to wire up the light switch when I wired it up on that bike, but on that bike I used a voltage step down controller because I was gonna do a 72 volt setup anyway, which would have just burnt out the light immediately. But it's gonna be much simpler to figure out on this bike because I'm not gonna do a voltage step down since it's only 36 volts. I think this light's gonna handle that just fine. So there's only 2 wires coming from the LED light, a positive and a ground. The light switch just completes a circuit. So there's only 2 wires that need to tap into a power source, a positive and a ground. And then you just wire the switch in between. So when this is turned off, all it does is it cuts off the connection between the power source and the light. But the ground is always connected. And then when you turn the light switch on, it just completes the circuit. Let's test this out. That is bright. Surprisingly, everything but the controller fit inside the factory box. This is where the stock controller is anyway. As you can see, the harness, everything's tucked down. There's no like tight tension on it, but this is the charge port for the new lithium battery that's in there. So this is no longer going to be used, but I'm just really happy that I didn't have to modify this box to fit everything. Man, I personally love the way it looks. Let me know what you guys think. Gloss black wheels, debadged everything, body cleaned up, wiring hooked up, pro taper pad to match the blue. I really love the wheel set. Well, I guess I got a little carried away with the MX350 project. It was supposed to be a simple, just overbolt it and ride it down the street. But then I started unbolting stuff and started buying stuff. And then next thing you know, it's turning into another project that I'm probably gonna buy even more parts for. So let me know what you guys think, what else you'd like to see on this bike, what else you suggest I should do to the other bikes. If you like this kind of content, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you wanna keep up with some of my projects, consider subscribing to my channel. But this is gonna be it for today. For the next video, I am gonna be taking this out for that top speed run. I just wanna do a couple maintenance items like lube the chain and make sure the brakes are working 100% before I take it out and see how fast this thing goes. But I'll see you guys in the next one.